Hello, English learners. Welcome back to the English with Michael YouTube channel. I'm so glad you could join me again. I have a really exciting video today, and this is going to be all about making resolutions, how you can make perfect, amazing New Year resolutions. In this video, I'm going to be giving some of my advice. If you want to get kind of a little bit more personal and hear a longer version of this, then I also recorded a long version over on the Level Up English podcast. But for now, let's get into my tips. So I'm going to give you some advice on how to make good goals for 2021. My first piece of advice when it comes to thinking of what goals you can make for the new year is don't try to change too much in one go. This is something that I probably did last year, where I kind of wanted to change everything in one day. Add all these new habits, all these new things I wanted to do, and it's just not so practical. Your life really cannot change so much that easily in a short amount of time. So make incremental changes. That means small changes bit by bit. Change one thing at a time, and then when you feel more comfortable, more confident, then you can increase over time. So it could just be like study 5 minutes every day. When you feel a little bit more confident, make it 10 minutes, make it 15 minutes. But don't say 2 hours in one go. Or don't have, 50 goals you want to do at the start of 2021. Because you may have the time at the beginning of the year, but probably you will not be able to keep up that momentum. If you think of a plane flying across the world, think of the plane, it will change its trajectory. Trajectory is like the way it's flying. It might just change by kind of 1 degree, go a little bit to the left. It doesn't really make any difference to begin with, but after a few hundred kilometers, it will be in a completely different place. And it's good to think about your goals in the same way. If you make a tiny change in your life today, it could be a tiny thing, just like in terms of English learning, a little bit of study in the morning. In 1 year, 2 years' time, that will make a huge impact on your life. So do not underestimate the power of small changes. My second piece of advice is something that I have been thinking about this week, and this is make your goals based on habits rather than outcomes. So many people will have a goal that says, I want to be a good English speaker, or I want to get promoted in my work, something like that. You're thinking about the outcome of what you want. And this, of course, is important. It's good to have that as the end goal. But as a resolution, it's not really attainable. It's not really achievable. So you need to focus on how you're going to get there. So make goals based on the outcome you desire. For example, if you want to be a good English speaker, rather than having that as your goal, you could say, I'm going to, maybe you realize you need to focus on listening, reading, and speaking. That's how you will get there. So then you can commit to studying 20 minutes in the morning for reading, 10 minutes in the evening for listening, and having one speaking conversation every day. This is like a great way to reach your goal and have that kind of set structure to help you get there. One of my students was telling me about his goals yesterday, and he has a goal to read one book every week, which is very ambitious. I'm very jealous of that goal. I might do it myself. But rather than saying, I'm going to read one book a week, he said he splits it down into days. If the book has 700 pages, he says, okay, I have to read 100 pages a day. So it's much more specific than just saying read 52 books a year. So think about how you can be specific and how you can make goals based on your habits. This next one is the one I'm most excited about this year because it's something that I haven't done so much before. I'm really going to try to focus on more this year. And that is, rather than doing a whole year of resolutions, why not focus on 30-day challenges? 30-day challenges. So thinking about a whole year, like everything you want to do for the year, can be really, really daunting. Daunting means kind of like scary. Of course, the year 2020 was very uncertain. No one could have predicted what happened. And I imagine 2021 will be similar in the sense that we don't know what will happen. You know, no one knows what we're going to be like at the end of 2021. It may be a completely different situation as to what we're in now. Hopefully for the better. But the point is, it's very hard to make goals for a time when you don't even know what life will look like. 30 days, however, is much more achievable, and you can really think about how your life might look after 30 days. If you are trying to give up alcohol, for example, a whole year is just so long that you might end up feeling so disheartened, and it's like such a long time frame that you'll probably give up. It's more likely anyway. 30 days for many people is quite doable. It's not too long. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Once the 30 days is over, see how you feel. Have a reflection on whether that time was spent successfully, what went wrong, what could have gone better, and then maybe you want to implement that habit into your life permanently, or maybe you decided it's not for you. You want to go back to how you were before. But it's a really good way to experiment. And I think experimenting in life and in language learning is always a good thing to do. So 2 examples where I have done this in the past. I think 2 or 3 years ago, I did a 30-day yoga challenge. This was like a YouTube series, you might find it too, where they did yoga for 30 days. And it was just 10 or 15 minutes a day. It wasn't a big amount of time to give to that, but I really, really enjoyed it. And after the 30 days, I loved it so much that I kept doing it. I decided to keep that habit, and I still do it to this day, almost every day. So there's one example of a 30-day challenge that had a big impact on my life. Another example, on the contrary, is this year I decided to go about 30 days without coffee. I drink a couple cups of coffee a day, but I wanted to see what my life would be like without it. So I gave up coffee for a few weeks, and at the end of it, I just didn't feel that good. I really missed coffee, and I realized it actually did bring some joy to my life. I did enjoy coffee. So after that 30 days, I brought coffee back into my life. And now I appreciate it much more because I know what it's like to live without it. To help you with this 30-day challenge, I even made a chart for you. So have a look in the description or the show notes, maybe down below or on your phone or on the app, wherever you're listening or watching to this. And there should be a link where you can download my free table. It's like a calendar, a 30-day calendar. And what you can do is cross off each day as it goes by and eventually make like a chain of crosses. So this is really good because it kind of, you don't want to break the chain. You want to keep crossing off every day, and it's kind of motivating to see how far you're coming on your habit in the month. So I recommend checking that out. I'll be using it too, very helpful. If you prefer a more digital version, then I use an app called Habit List. It's a free app to download, Habit List. It's on the App Store. I don't know about Android, but I recommend it. Very good app, very simple. In the final part of this talk today, I want to give you some motivational tips. It can be really, really difficult to make a change sometimes, and it's easy to be stuck in a rut. Stuck in a rut means like you're stuck and you're feeling down and depressed because every day is the same. You're stuck in a rut. So when you get stuck in a rut, you have to find that motivation to make a change. And these kind of phrases, these ways of thinking, really help me. The first thing I think about is, what kind of person do I want to be in 5 years' time? What will that person be like? Now, I'm sure if you think really carefully about this, you might have some ideas on what kind of person would be a good friend? What kind of person will be a good husband or wife, good father or mother? Think about the perfect version of yourself in the future. The only way you will ever get to be that person is if you make changes now. If you keep going the way you are, you won't change. You have to make changes to be the person you want to be in the future. So I find that really motivational, and it really encourages me to make small positive changes in my life. The final thing I like to remind myself is, what would the best version of myself do? It's quite similar to the last point, just worded in a different way. But think about the best possible version of yourself. The version of yourself who's basically perfect. It is achievable. You could be that person, but you have to make some effort. What would they do? Would they watch another episode on Netflix? Or would they get up from the sofa and go out and achieve their goals? So think about that carefully. I love these phrases because it just reminds me, gives me a kick up the butt, which kind of means it harshly, strongly motivates me to pursue my goals. Well, I'm going to leave it there for today. As I said, I will be talking a little bit longer over on my podcast, Level Up English, and I'll be going a bit more personal over there, talking about my own personal reflections and feelings about the year. And if you want to, join me over there. But otherwise, thank you for watching. I would love, love, love to hear your resolutions for the year. Maybe you're not the kind of person who makes goals for the year, but have a go. Doesn't have to be for the year. It could be for a month or just a few days. Let me know what changes you think you could make. Leave them in the comments. I'd love to hear what ideas you have about this. Thank you so much for watching. Really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.